Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get set for our season finale. After 10 races, we're now to our 11th and final race of the NNSCRA Gaming Indycar Series at the Indianapolis 500, where we will not only have a driver cross the line, win the race, and kiss the yard of bricks, but another driver, maybe even the same driver, will be hoisting a championship trophy. Coming into today's race, there are only 5 drivers that are left in the hunt for this championship. They are as follows: Chris Dodd, Eli Bright, Tripin Tacuvernio, Matt Haas, and Jacob Rose. One of those 5 will be leaving Indianapolis today as the inaugural NNSCRA Gaming IndyCar Series champion. 50 laps of racing, anything can happen, and we've seen how the speedway races play such a factor into the outcome of a point standings outlook the following week. While we are here at the mecca of the speedways, this is Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of the most historical tracks on any racing circuit. Today, though, we're getting set to see if these 5 drivers will survive and be able to take the championship. But for now, we're going to give you your starting grid for the last time here this season. Mason Wood lines up on the pole. He's still looking for his first win of the season. He'll line up alongside of Charles Jackson, our winner from the last speedway stop at Pocono. Cole Baker lines up alongside of Kev Shearer in row number 2. There's one of our championship competitors, Tripin Tacuvernio. He's going to roll off from 5th alongside of Zach Flickinger. Nathan Orman will line up beside of Jordan Lopez. Next row, you've got Jonathan Zorlin alongside of Jacob Rose, who comes into this race 14 points back from that points lead. We'll cover all that in just a minute. Johnny Gardner alongside of Jay Jefferson. Behind them, Matthew Rodriguez and Eli Bright, who lost the points lead at Sonoma last week. He's starting mid-pack. Then you got Austin LaPlante alongside of Carson Gum. Noah Kars alongside Pichu Ludden. And look here towards the back. Some of our championship competitors. Matt Haas comes in tied for 4th in points. Going to be starting from the 20th position alongside Jake Rogers. And in the final row, Alexander Rowe, and the guy who comes in as the points leader, Chris Dodd, will have to do it from dead last, the 22nd position. So just like that, it gives a whole new meaning to championship outlook when the guy who won his 2nd race of the season last week at Sonoma took over the points lead, heads into today's race starting dead last. Let's get the command to fire him up.
Drivers, start your engines.
There is the command. 50 laps of racing here today. And I don't really know what to expect from today's race, to be perfectly honest. This track is not exactly the most spacious, but I mean, you think about it. There are 5 drivers that want to win a championship. There's another 17 drivers in this field. They don't care. They're not in the hunt for a championship. They want to finish out the season with a win. Some of them looking for their 2nd win of the season. Some of them looking for their 1st. So the point scenario is this. Chris Dodd comes into the race as the points leader. 6 points advantage over Eli Bright. Tripin Tacuvernio is 11 points back. And Matt Haas and Jacob Rose are 14 points back. You had to technically be at least 24 points back in order to still be eligible for the championship. 6th in points is 28 points back, which leaves only the top 5 to battle for the championship here mathematically at Indianapolis. But here we go, race number 11 for the final time this season. Green flag is out, let's roll! Nice jump there for Mason Wood to get out in front. Cole Baker going to move to 2nd, and here comes Tripin Tacuvernio looking for the 2nd spot as he's currently in 3rd place. To the left rear quarter panel of Cole Baker. Now for Vernio, it'd be very important for him to get up here, try and lead a lap, because you get bonus points for leading a lap, get bonus point for leading the most laps. Cole Baker switching lanes though. He goes to the inside on Mason Wood for the race lead. Vernio right behind him. They're almost 3 wide back there. That was Jacob Rose put in a precarious position, and I think that was Johnny Gardner or Eli Bright, one or the other, that put him in that 3 wide situation. It was Gardner in the 2. Jacob Rose now kicked up to the high side. So Cole Baker leads the first lap of this race, and already things going crazy up here, not only at the front, but also mid-pack. Zach Flickinger has now moved to 2nd. Mason Wood has drifted back to 3rd. The battle is on for 4th. Johnny Gardner, Tripin Tacuvernio, and Jay Jefferson in that mix actually make that Austin LaPlante in the 9th. jump back and find some of our other championship competitors. We've seen Jacob Rose starting to reel in Tripentacchi Vernio. Look at Matt Haas. He started close to the oh, I'm sorry, that's not Matt Haas. That's Noah Cars. Sorry, I got the two yellow cars mixed up. Right now, these are the top two highest running competitors as far as the championship is concerned. Jacob Rose in the 5, Vernio in the 63. Rose last time by was scored in 6th, Vernio in 7th. There's Eli Bright back there as they're 3 wide up ahead of him with Matthew Rodriguez on the bottom. They settle it back out to double wide. Eli Bright currently tucked in around the 13th position, it looks like. One car in the wall, that was Chris Dodd. Chris Dodd in the wall, he saved it though, has fought his way up to the 14th position, but that was nearly fatal to his championship hopes. And speaking of fatal, one driver that is at the very back of the pack, he hasn't lost the draft, but that's Matt Haas in the 28. Now, I don't know if this is strategy on his part or not. He's one of the 2 long shots to win this thing, 14 points back from points leader Chris Dodd. So maybe he's expecting trouble to break out, and then being this far back, he'll have the opportunity to miss it. But the one thing he cannot afford is to lose the lead pack, or else he could be in a big problem if this thing goes into a long green flag run. Chris Dodd now working on Alexander Rowe. It's about 5 cars behind Eli Bright, which right now would mean Eli Bright would gain at least 5 points on Chris Dodd and make it only 1 point Chris Dodd holds over Eli Bright in the live point standings. Chris Dodd trying to make that grow a little bit to at least 2 points as he will now bypass Alexander Rowe. Eli Bright has now cracked the top 10 after getting around Kev Shearer. Now he has his sights set on Noah Cars in the 4. Meanwhile, up front, Austin LaPlante showing the way, and I believe this is the first time this season that Austin LaPlante has led. He finished second at the season opener at St. Petersburg to Noah Cars, but he didn't lead a lap in that race, and I don't think he's led a lap all season. This is the first time we are seeing the 9 car out in front. It's been a pretty struggling season for him as well, so how great would it be for him to be able to pick up his first win of the season here at the last race of the year. Get an opportunity to kiss the yard of bricks. Zach Flickinger right there, winner at Iowa, looking for his 2nd win of the season. Behind him, you got some other drivers that are still looking for their 1st win of the year. Cole Baker there in 3rd, Johnny Gardner in 4th, and one car went up and hit the wall pretty good. That was Jacob Rose in the 5. Like he slammed the wall there. Through that little straightaway between 3 and 4, pretty good, about the same spot that we saw Chris Dodd get the wall a little bit earlier. Right now, Jacob Rose, the highest running of the 5 championship competitors. He was in 5th, but he's about to lose that spot to Matthew Rodriguez, and now here's Tripentacchi Vernio right back up into the mix. Now going to battle side by side for the 6th position. Mason Wood, the pole sitter, right there as well. And Eli Bright about to enter into this conversation. Ooh, that was a little close there through 3. Mason Wood, the front splitter of his car, very close to the red housing of Jacob Rose. And here's Eli Bright in that 9th spot. Right now, with him running in 9th, let's see where Chris Dodd is. Dodd's in 12th, so Dodd's actually made up just as much ground. And we had a spin in the middle of 1 and 2. We got a car up in the wall again. That's Jacob Rose. I think we're under caution. We are. There's Chris Dodd. He worked his way up to 12th place. So right now, he still would be the points leader and currently still would be the champion. But caution's out. And Zach Flickinger got around Austin LaPlante for the race lead. To lead under this yellow, there was a spin. Oh, it was Matt Haas. The entire left front is gone on that car. And there's another car on pit road there, and I think that might be Jonathan Zorlin in the 3. No, it wasn't Jonathan Zorlin. Zorlin's currently on the track. Looks like one of the the Penske cars. That might be Nathan Ormond then in the 1. But Matt Haas, who was riding at the back of the pack, looks like that strategy did not work out for him, and looks like his championship hopes are done. Gonna have any pit stops here? It's 50 laps, and yeah, they're gonna come to pit road. We haven't had pit stops all season long. They haven't really had the necessity to, but with 50 laps here today at Indianapolis, these drivers having to come to pit road this time. So the only time this season pit strategy potentially comes into play, and we end up having a caution, which may completely take fuel out of the category of drivers having to roll the dice at all. As Zach Flickinger leads the field down here under our first caution for pit stops, let's take a look at a replay of what brought out this yellow flag for the first time here today at the Brickyard. This was towards the rear of the field. Ormond was scored 19th last time by. Matt Haas had been actually trying to pick up some spots, starting to charge. And he gets into the left rear of Nathan Ormond, and watch this. Oh my goodness. 28 car flips up and onto his roof. And look, oh my goodness. Oh my, look at, oh my word. Oh my. High speeds bring high risk, and a lot of times bring high-octane wrecks. Oh my goodness, look out. Jordan Lopez just getting through. I think that was Charles Jackson that went under the 28. And that was some hard licks. Let's take another look. Well, I said Matthew Rodriguez's wreck at Pocono a couple of weeks ago was the scariest wreck I had ever seen. Can I change my mind about that? Because this, oh boy. There you see it. Ormond did nothing wrong. Matt Haas just looked like he got tight through the exit of the corner and got up into Ormond, and maybe this wasn't the best camera shot. We may not get to see much of anything until after they make contact with the inside wall. But, my goodness, that 28 car, oh, there you can see him over there on the far end of the entrance of turn 4. And look at how high up into the air that 28 car got. Not the best of camera angles here. We'll see if they have another camera angle for us. Look at that. It still goes up in the air. Still flipping. That car got elevation about 3 different times. That is insane. Let's take another camera view. And this is going to give you a look of just how high that car went up into the catch fence in relation to where the catch fence is. Watch this. Oh man, that was a hard lick there for Nathan Ormond. And right there, up and completely over the entire top part of the catch fence. That car was almost halfway over the top of the catch fence. It's a wonder that car stayed back in the track boundaries. My goodness. And that was not an easy hit for Nathan Ormond either. He backed that into that safer barrier pretty hard, and that car got airborne as well. One to green as we get ready to go back racing. Zach Flickinger's team first on, first off pit road, so he'll restart as the leader. We should have, I believe, my calculations are correct, 39 laps to go in this one. I thought that wreck was over between 3 and 4. And yet I saw some skid marks just there in between turns 1 and 2. So I'm not rightly sure if maybe we didn't have something else take place. However, the only 2 cars out of the race are Nathan Ormond and Matt Haas. Maybe the wreck was over in 1 and 2, and I miscorrectly said that it was over in 3 and 4. If that's the case, I do apologize. Here through 3 and 4, there are no skid marks. That must have been in 1 and 2. I apologize. I mistakenly said it was an incident there in 3 and 4 when it actually was over in the middle of 1 and 2. But Flickinger will restart ahead of Johnny Gardner, Austin LaPlante, Matthew Rodriguez, Tripentacu Vernio. Then it's Pichu London, Jake Rogers, Eli Bright, Noah Kars, and Mason Wood. 2 of our championship competitors starting up here in the top 10, with Vernio in 5th, Eli Bright in 8th. The rest of them, Chris Dodd will restart in 13th. As the green flag is back out, Jacob Rose restarts 15th, and Matt Haas came into today in championship contention out of the race, so he will not be competing for the championship now. Here at Indianapolis, battle for second over quickly. LaPlante makes quick work of Johnny Gardner, and now he's got his sights set back on Zach Flickinger. Flickinger took the race lead from LaPlante just before that caution. LaPlante wants the top spot back, and oh boy, they're starting to get wadded up here at the front. Matthew Rodriguez up here, Vernio, London. And now here comes Eli Bright into the mix. Contact! Vernio nearly off the nose of Pichu London. Like I said, they're getting wadded up here all of a sudden. They're not going to give each other room. These restarts are the best time to be able to pick up positions before everybody starts getting spread out, and you have to start picking them off one by one. You can get them in one lump sum, as Pichu London will go to the second spot now. London all over the back bumper of LaPlante. And look at him fanning out down the back straightaway here. Eli Bright right now, though, in that fourth position. He needs to gain at least 6 spots on Chris Dodd. Well, actually, he needs to gain at least 7 spots on Chris Dodd, because if this race comes down to a tiebreaker and Chris Dodd is involved, Chris Dodd's going to be the champion, because he's the only driver this season that has 2 wins. Everybody else has been to victory lane this season has only been to victory lane once, is Pichu London. I think that might be his first lap led of the season. There is Bright right now in the 4th spot. Eli Bright, one thing he definitely needs to do is get up here and lead a lap. That'd be a bonus point he would have in the bank that Chris Dodd does not have. Speaking of Chris, he has got his hands full. Cole Baker. There is Chris Dodd. Yeah, he's about to get bypassed by Charles Jackson. He's going the wrong way. Right now, Eli Bright has a very good points lead at the moment over Chris Dodd, but Chris going to try and fight back. And there is Zach Flickinger, who led us to that restart. He's drifted all the way back outside. I think now he's back around the 17th, 18th position. He crossed the line in 17th place. Dodd now all over the back bumper of Cole Baker, trying to fight his way back up to the front. Right now, the championship is in the clutches of Eli Bright, currently in that 4th position. Here comes Jacob Rose. He's going to go for the 5th spot off of Johnny Gardner. He's trying to get himself back into this mix. Battle for second is on LaPlante to the inside of Vernio. It's all this going on behind the 83 of Austin LaPlante, side by side now between Eli Bright and Jacob Rose for 4th. Eli Bright gives up the spot very easily to Jacob Rose in the 5. And here comes Carson Gum into the mix now. He's leading a second group along with Johnny Gardner, Jordan Lopez, and I believe that's Alexander Rowe, who started in the last row of this race. Started in 21st, and now he's up inside the top 10. LaPlante going to go for 3rd place. He'll pass Jacob Rose, who I think may have gotten a little bit of the wall there out of turn 3. And now LaPlante to the inside of Vernio for 2nd. Rose down there with him. They'll have a nice slipstream going down here to turn 1. Nothing Vernio can do to defend it. LaPlante and Rose get a big run. They're going to go 3 wide between them for 2nd place. And Vernio decides to back out of that. And here comes Carson Gum with a full head of steam. He's now cracked the top 5. Took 5th from Eli Bright. Now takes 4th from Vernio. The 77 all of a sudden's up here in the front of the field. Meanwhile, Jacob Rose has his sights set on Pichu London. He'd love to be able to get a bonus point for leading a lap. So far, of our 5 championship competitors, none of them have led a lap today. That's a bonus point somebody really is going to want. And Jacob Rose is going to try and take the lead here going into turn 1. If he can take the lead, will he be able to hold it by the time they get back to the start-finish line? London right there in 2nd, a hard-charging Carson Gum in 3rd. Rose going to try and hold him off for 2 corners to at least get that bonus point. If he gets that bonus point, then he only has to finish 8 positions ahead of Eli Bright and 15 positions ahead of Chris Dodd. Actually, 14 positions ahead of Chris Dodd. My apologies. Field's gotten really spread out. And Rose will be the only championship competitor up to this point who will lead a lap in this race. Eli Bright has now drifted back. He's in the 7th position. They have him scored. So where he's running right now, he needs for Chris Dodd to be running in 14th or worse. Let's see where Chris is. There he is. And last time by, he was scored in 16th, so he needs to pick up about 2 or 3 more spots. or else Eli Bright's going to win this championship. And he's got his hands full now with Zach Flickinger in the 15. That's another spot he's going to lose on track. So with Chris Dodd losing spots now, he needs to either gain spots or hope that Eli Bright begins losing spots, because this is not a good scenario right now for the driver of the 7. That might open the door for Charles Jackson to make a move for position. This is a battle going on right now for the 9th spot. Alexander Rowe bypassing Charles Jackson. You've got Mason Wood, Noah Cars, and Matthew Rodriguez here as well. This is a battle to try and get into the top 10. There's Eli Bright riding by himself in the 7th position. Trying to ride this thing out, hoping Chris Dodd cannot make up ground. The last thing I think Eli Bright wants to see right now is a yellow flag. That would bunch them all back up and give Chris Dodd another opportunity at trying to gain positions on the 26. As things stand, with Eli Bright in 7th and Chris Dodd in 16th, that's 9 points that Eli Bright has gained on Chris Dodd, which means right now, according to the live point standings, Eli Bright has a 3-point advantage over the 7. As things stand right now, but we are just now getting to halfway. Top 3 have broken away, and Jacob Rose out in front. Now, we haven't really had a car stay out in front for a good majority of this race, with maybe the possible exception of Zach Flickinger being able to lead about 2 or 3 laps under pacing when we were under our own caution so far. So if Jacob Rose can stay out in front, that's another bonus point he would gain for leading the most laps. The problem for him, though, is Eli Bright is running up inside the top 10. So he needs Eli Bright to be having just as much problems as Chris Dodd is. And I thought I heard an idling engine just up ahead of the leaders. And that was indeed Jonathan Zorland in the 3. And he could come into play in this race. All depends on where they catch him. And they may catch him here on the back straightaway, so we might be good. Oh, boy. Nope, they're going to catch him coming out of turn 2. And now Rose looks low. London goes high. Carson Gum right in the mix there as well. And it looks like the top 3 are going to be able to maneuver their way by the 3 car, at least for the moment. What about the rest of the groups back there that are going to catch up to that 3 car? Gap from 3rd place London back to 4th place, which is a battle going on here back and forth between Austin LaPlante and Jordan Lopez. Lopez was in 4th last time by. LaPlante's now in 4th this time by. And now they're going to catch the 3 of Jonathan Zorland, and he's going to hold them up. Whoa! LaPlante tried going low on Zorland. Lopez was there. LaPlante had to make evasive actions to the high side. Looks like he's going to get around. And Vernio now is going to try and use the high line. That brings Eli Bright into the mix as well. This is starting to get a little wadded up back here, which is not exactly a good thing. Now Johnny Gardner and Jordan Lopez going to use Jonathan Zorland as a pick. Eli Bright's going to lose another spot. He'll drop back to the 8th position now. What about Chris Dodd? Has he made up any ground? Well, there he is. He's gotten back by Flickinger, back by by Kev Shearer, I should say, trying to reel in Jake Rogers and Cole Baker. With Eli Bright dropping back to 8th, Chris Dodd is currently in 16th still. Still has to gain 2 more spots to be able to keep at a tie with Eli Bright. Baker and Rogers up ahead are those 2 cars. He also could maybe hope for Eli Bright to lose a couple of positions. Eli Bright now actually kind of by his lonesome, and if he gets lost with that draft, this group might be able to catch him. Charles Jackson, Alexander Rowe, Mason Wood, and Noah Cars, along with Matthew Rodriguez. Ooh, but they're going to have issues trying to get around Jonathan Zorland. Now they make their way by pretty well. Caught him there right in the entrance of turn 2, and now they'll make their way by. So we gotta see if the gap closes up between Charles Jackson and Eli Bright, because if that's the case, Eli Bright has clearly lost the draft, and this group is making a lot more speed all together in a tight draft. Last time by, between Eli Bright and Charles Jackson, it was about 3 seconds. This time by, It's about 3.3, so I think Eli Bright might still be okay, might still be in the draft, as they just now work their way around another slow car, Jay Jefferson in the 10. So Jefferson, oh boy, he might hold Eli Bright up right now. Oh boy, oh yikes! A little contact right there between the 26 and the 10. And if Eli Bright had lost this lead group before, he's definitely lost him now. Up front, Jacob Rose continuing to show the way, so I think right now he has led the most laps of any driver today. So that's another bonus point he currently holds. Only one of the championship competitors to even be out in front today. Carson Gum right there in second, and third place Pichu London. Now Jacob Rose, he's battling for this championship, but he has not won a race yet this season. Still looking for his first. And right now, out in front showing the way, Carson Gum, Pichu London also though looking for their first win of the season. Eli Bright still back there in that 8th position. It looks like he's pretty much maintaining his gap between himself and 9th in the running order, Charles Jackson. They are still separated by about 3 seconds. So even though Eli Bright appears to have lost the pack, running by himself, this pack is not producing nearly enough speed to be able to catch up here to Eli Bright in that 8th position. Side by side there, Alexander Rowe, Matthew Rodriguez, they're not willing to really work together in a straight line to produce enough speed to get up there. We are now at 20 laps to go here in Indianapolis. This time by, did the gap close up at all? Well, it went down by about 0.2 to 2.8. But like I said, they're going to have to stay in a straight line, work together, get more speed if they're going to catch Eli Bright. There you see the 26. He's hoping he can get a little bit of a slipstream off the back of the 2 of Johnny Gardner. But Gardner, in turn, doesn't really have that much drafting help from the car ahead of him, Tripantacchio Vernio in the 63. This battle's been going on for the last 10 or so laps between LaPlante and Lopez for the 4th spot. They're trying to catch up to the top 3, but they're 7 seconds back right now. So I guess they're just driving it as best they can, 110% for that 4th position, just in case a caution flag may come out. And that's bringing Tripantacchio Vernio into this mix. And by the way, 2 seconds now. 2 seconds on the dot, the gap between Eli Bright and Alexander Rowe. Now, why are we focusing so much on this? The reason is because Chris Dodd is currently scored in the 15th position. He needs to either gain spots or have Eli Bright lose spots. And if these 3, if they get up there and they get a big enough run, they can blow by Eli Bright, and that's 3 positions Eli Bright loses. That's 3 points he loses in the standings. And that's why we are focusing on this so much, because this could have championship implications if this group of 3 get up to and pass Eli Bright and send him outside of the top 10. Matter of fact, right now, Eli Bright holds a 1-point advantage over Chris Dodd, with Chris Dodd now working his way up into the 15th position. Charles Jackson just wants to get up there and get position, but for Eli Bright, he's trying to hang on to his championship hopes. Charles Jackson maybe doesn't even realize that. There you see Rowe and Matthew Rodriguez battling again, so that's going to, in a way, help Eli Bright, because Charles Jackson, without having the aid of those 2 directly behind him, is not going to get nearly the run he needs to pass the 26. And now Eli Bright finds himself in a very bad situation, because here comes Charles Jackson looking for the 8th position. Eli Bright can ill afford to fall outside of the top 10. Jackson, though, is not going to take no for an answer, and he's going to go to the inside. Alexander Rowe right there with him. They're going to start freight training the 26. Right back to 9th, right back to 10th. It's now 5 positions separation between himself and Chris Dodd, who still hangs in the 15th position. And now Matthew Rodriguez all over the back bumper of Eli Bright. Eli needs to finish in 8th spot where he was running right then in order to be the champion. And there is Chris Dodd. He has gotten by Cole Baker, and he's trying to catch up here to Jake Rogers and Mason Wood. That'd be more positions for him to gain. Right now, Chris Dodd could work his way up as high as 13th if he can get by both Wood and Rogers. Oh, trouble up ahead! We just had a spin! That is Charles Jackson! And the caution flag will wave. Matthew Rodriguez must have been involved as well. And just like that, with 15 laps to go, we have a whole new race. And they had just then caught Jonathan Zorlin, put him down another lap. Jacob Rose will lead us to this caution flag. 15 laps to go. The second yellow flag rears its ugly head, and just like that, this championship picture, this battle for the victory, has taken on a whole new shape. Looks like it might have been Charles Jackson and Matthew Rodriguez who got together to bring out this yellow flag. And keep in mind, Eli Bright was right up in that group of 4 race cars. Alexander Rowe was in that mix as well. But it looks like Eli Bright got through it okay. Bright back in 9th. Chris Dodd crossed in 14th. That's 1 point Chris Dodd has over Eli Bright in the live point standings at this current point in time. But the yellow flag is out. Let's take a look at a replay of what brought out our second caution so far here today at the Brickyard. Like we said, up in this group, this is around 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. That was where this group was running. And Jackson's going to get into the wall. Comes off the wall into Matthew Rodriguez. Oh, wow. Oh, and another hit there. Oh, my goodness. Another car goes airborne here today at Indy. Charles Jackson. Another bit of contact with Matthew Rodriguez. He goes down and slams the wall again. But look at that 11. Just continue to barrel roll down the front straightaway. That car's going to cross the line. He started flipping back around the pit road entry area. Flipped all the way down past the start-finish line. He's going to almost go down to the front of the standing start grid. Oh, my goodness gracious. What a scary ride for Charles Jackson. And like I said, these cars are going so fast, it doesn't take much for it to lift them off the ground. Wow. Let's see if we can find another camera angle of that. Well, we had that onboard earlier of Charles Jackson going by the flipping Matt Haas. I don't think he expected about 20 laps later that he was also going to find himself in the air. There you see, in the wall, comes down across the right front of Matthew Rodriguez, and watch the hit. Immediately the car goes up into the air. And there is one. Here comes hit number 2 right there. Right there. From Matthew Rodriguez. And as if 2's not enough, I think he gets it a 3rd time. Right. Oh, no, I thought he got hit a 3rd time, but he doesn't. Look at that car. And you're just a passenger. When the car goes airborne like that, you're a passenger just hoping and praying that that thing's going to land back on all 4 wheels. Hey, you had got a really good look at that was Noah Carson, the 4, as he drove by. And then here comes that group on the bottom right of your screen with Jake Rogers, Cole Baker, Mason Wood, and Chris Dodd, who almost ended up hitting Charles Jackson. Went on board with Charles Jackson last time and going forward this time and both of him Wow, it's a wonder that thing landed back on all 4 wheels, and you see that group just go flying by. Imagine if he had gotten nailed down there at the end of this front straightaway. My goodness. Camera did survive. Charles Jackson goes for a wild ride here at Indianapolis. We're going to have ourselves somewhere close to the 10 laps to go mark to finish this race. Let's go back for the restart. Now, I don't understand what just happened here under pacing. Jacob Rose led us back to the caution flag, and he just came to pit road. He was the race leader. He was the only car to hit pit lane. He's going to restart at the tail end of the longest line, and that turns the race lead over to Carson Gum. Now, Jacob Rose had led a lap today. He was en route to leading the most laps today, 2 bonus points. He was going to be out in front, ahead of all the mayhem, and might have been able to catch a break with Vernio, Eli Bright, Chris Dodd maybe running into trouble here in these last 10 laps, but instead decides to come to pit road. So we're going to have to try and find out why he did come to the pit lane. But Carson Gum now is going to be starting out in front, ahead of Pichu London, Jordan Lopez, Austin LaPlante, and Tripe Vernio. The top 5 all still looking for their first win of the season. Then it's Johnny Gardner, Alexander Rowe, Eli Bright in 8th, 9th Noah Cars, 10th Jake Rogers, and the rest of your championship competitors. The other 2, Chris Dodd restarts in 11th, and as mentioned, Jacob Rose restarts in 16th, last car on the lead lap. Jay Jefferson a lap down the inside line, along with Jonathan Zorlin, who's 2 laps down. We're going back green with 11 laps to go, which is why we have the lap cars to the inside. We are not yet to the 10 laps to go mark, so they do line up on the inside line. If another wreck happens and another caution comes out, then, and only then, will we have the single file restarts. And we know that Zorlin and Jefferson apparently are not really up to speed, so this could be a very interesting restart. We saw how wadded up they got on that restart last time after our first caution. This could be a very key restart for all the championship competitors. The green flag is back out, 11 laps to go. Carson Gumberry quickly makes quick work of the lap traffic. Pichu London does the same. Vernio also trying to do that. He's back in the 4th spot. Lopez there, the podium drivers so far have gotten away from the lap traffic. Zorlin now up on the high side, Jefferson on the bottom. They have completely boxed up everyone else behind them. This could get very interesting. Contact! There goes Jefferson off the nose of LaPlante, back up into traffic. Caution will wave again. Another car flipping. That looked like that might have been Kev Shearer. Yellow flag out once again, but most importantly, Chris Dodd and Eli Bright both got through that wreck. But did Jacob Rose, did that strategy on his part pay dividends, or was he caught up in this? There's Baker, Mason Wood. There's one of the cars out of Ganassi on pit road. I think that might be Jefferson. And Jacob Rose was collected. So the strategy did not work for the 5. And there's the car I saw go up in the air, Kev Shearer. Caution is out for the 3rd time today. And you just kind of got the feeling something like that was going to happen. I think Austin LaPlante dumped his teammate, Jay Jefferson, who was holding up that entire inside line. And then it just all broke loose there in turns 3 and 4. So Carson Gum will have to line him up, do it again, but this time with less than 10 to go. Let's take a look at a replay of what brought out our 3rd caution of the day here at Indianapolis. And you saw the smoke lingering there out of turn 4. We had the wreck actually take place over onto the front straightaway as well. We'll try and document everything that happens. There you see lap car of Jefferson on the bottom, lap car of Zorlin on the high side. LaPlante wants to make it 3 wide, and he just couldn't make it work. Jefferson either came down and blocked, or LaPlante came up. And Jefferson, trying to keep it straight, comes up, and he's going to clip Mason Wood, and right in front of Kev Shearer. There's Cole Baker involved as well. And look at Kev Shearer up and on 2 wheels, then onto his roof. Still on 2 wheels, and then the car's going to start flipping upside down. Look at that car. You can see it top right of your screen. There he is. And then he gets, oh my word, he got nailed by Jacob Rose. Oh my goodness. Look at the tire come flying. Oh my word. Oh my good lord. Oh my goodness. I mean, we've seen a wild ride by Matt Haas. We've seen a wild ride by Charles Jackson, but this, oh my goodness, that car is still, look at the velocity on that thing. Oh my goodness gracious sakes alive. Look at that, it's still, oh my goodness. That's one of the things that is possible here, and we hadn't had it yet, but we just did, where the high velocity not only can bring the car off the ground, but you get nailed by another race car, and that kind of thing can happen. We're going to take a look at that in real time and just see how much velocity that 34 car had. Looking from our far spectator view, watch this. Wreck up ahead, nails Jefferson, and then watch the hit from the 5 of Jacob Rose coming into view right here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. I mean, Kev Shearer went for a wild ride for certain, but you gotta wonder about Jacob Rose, the hit he took. Never lifted. You never heard that throttle lift one iota. And the hits just keep on coming here at Indy. 6 laps to go is the official word that we will have left to finish out this race if, and this is a big if, another caution flag does not come out. We started out this race with 5 drivers in contention for the championship. Matt Haas visited the catch fence, which then dwindled us down to 4, and our latest wreck involving Jacob Rose now puts us down to 3 drivers left to compete for this championship here today. Tripentacchio Vernio has probably been the best of all 5 championship competitors so far today, with the exception of the fact Jacob Rose was out in front for a good portion of this race, but now out of the race makes it a moot point. But Vernio has not fallen outside the top 5 for pretty much this entire day. Big problem for him, though, is he came in with an 11-point deficit between himself and Chris Dodd, and now with the dwindling field, gives Chris Dodd an equal opportunity now to be able to close that gap up. Our championship competitors are all running inside the top 10 of the 3 that remain. Vernio will restart 4th, Eli Bright in 8th, Chris Dodd in 9th. Basically, for Chris Dodd, he just has to finish in the top 10, and he'll win this championship. Right now, he would have a 5-point advantage over Eli Bright and a 6-point advantage over Tripentacchio Vernio with the way they are scored currently in the live standings. Out of the race after that wreck included the cars of Jacob Rose, Kev Shearer, Jay Jefferson. They joined Matthew Rodriguez, Charles Jackson, Nathan Ormond, and Matt Haas in the garage area. Still 2 laps down is Jonathan Zorlin. He'll be restarting single file with these drivers in the lead lap line, but there's only about 3 cars that are behind him that have to pass him: Baker, Wood, and I think Johnny Gardner. So he shouldn't be too much of an issue here on this restart. Carson Gum trying to pick up his first win of the season. Green flag back out. The entire top 5 all looking for their first win of the season. Gum, London, Lopez, Vernio, and Jake Rogers has fought his way up into the 5th position. Can't help but think back when we look at Jake Rogers, where he was out in front at Iowa, came to pit road giving up the race lead. He was able to battle back into the top 5 for the finish of that race, but he kind of got the feeling he let one get away from him there. Now he's going to get bypassed by Alexander Rowe and Noah Carr, so he'll drop from 5th, now back to the 7th position. Meanwhile, Chris Dodd has been able to get around Eli, oh no he hasn't, no I thought he had gotten around Eli Bright, but he hadn't. That was Eli Bright I was actually seeing, the 26th car. now he's got a battle to his inside. Austin LaPlante. Chris Dodd is that white machine just a couple spots back behind Eli Bright, behind Jake Rogers. He's just got to keep Eli Bright within sight, and Chris Dodd will have this thing won. But it's not over up at the front. Second place car, Jordan Lopez, making quick work of Pichu London, sending him back to a battle for third with Tripantacchio Vernio, and now he's got his sights set on the 77 of Carson Gum. 4 laps to go here at Indy. Can anybody catch Carson? He had a fast car at the start of this thing. As a matter of fact, I believe he has the fastest lap of this race. Yes, he does. 39.560, closest to him is 4 100ths back, or 4 tenths back, I should say. No, 400ths back. That was Jacob Rose, Johnny Gardner, Pichu London, and Austin LaPlante there. LaPlante leading the 39.7s. Lopez, Flickinger, Matthew Rodriguez, Cole Baker, and Vernio in that group. Battle on for second. London back to the inside on Lopez. London was drifted back to fourth, took third back from Vernio, now back to the runner-up spot, now sets his sights back on Carson Gum. It was basically Jacob Rose, Carson Gum, and Pichu London in the top 3 for the majority of this race in the halfway section of this event. They were undoubtedly the 3 strongest cars at the time, and now we're about to see 2 of the remaining strongest cars go at it here, potentially for the win in the Brickyard 400. For the Indianapolis 500. Wow. Good job, me. Whoa! London drifting a little bit wider through that corner, getting the wall. Now, I think the reason that happened is he realizes the line that Carson Gum's running, and he knows that if he's going to make a move for the race lead, potentially the win, he's got to do something a little bit different. So I think he tried about a half groove higher, but it hurt his exit off of turn 3. And he's running out of time. 1.5 laps left to go as they hit the back straightaway. London trying to close the gap between himself and Carson Gum. Meanwhile, Chris Dodd has drifted back a little. He lost a spot to Jake Rogers back to 11th, but only 4 spots behind Eli Bright, so he still currently would be the champion. Out of turn 4, Carson Gum will see the white flag. And doggone it, Chris Dodd, if you hadn't won last week at Mid-Ohio, or at Sonoma, we may have ended up having it a perfect 11 for 11 in first-time winners this season, because it looks like we're going to have another first-time winner here today in the Indianapolis 500. Question is, though, does Pichu London have enough gusto to get up there and battle with Carson Gum with about half a straightaway and 2 corners remaining? Through turns 3 and 4, Carson Gum still holding the advantage. London, a last-ditch effort, almost got the wall for his troubles. Not going to quite get there. Carson Gum will pick up his first win this season. He'll kiss the yard of bricks here today, winning the Indianapolis 500. Chris Dodd will cross the line in the 11th position. He is your inaugural NNSCRA Gaming IndyCar Series champion. Eli Bright finished in 7th. Chris Dodd finished in 11th. 4 points gained by Eli Bright, but it's not enough. Eli Bright will lose the championship to Chris Dodd by 2 points. Vernio will lose the championship by 5 points. Carson Gum, though, makes it 10 for 11 this season in first-time winners. The only driver that had 2 wins this year, the champion Chris Dodd. But Carson Gum capping off what's been a pretty good season for him. He's going to finish the year out top 10 in the point standings. Maybe top 5, depending on where he is in relation to everybody else. He has a win today, and Matt Haas and Jacob Rose didn't exactly have the best of runs. Neither did Kev Shearer, and all those drivers were 5th, 6th, 7th in points. Or 4th, 5th, and 6th, I should say. So Carson Gum may finish the season out not only with a win, but top 5 in the standings. Chris Dodd, though, will finish the season out in the standings in that pivotal number 1 position. Pichu London will finish 2nd. That's his best finish of the season. Jordan Lopez brings it home 3rd. Austin LaPlante in 4th. Kind of a bookend season for LaPlante. A good finish at the beginning of the season, a good finish at the end of the season, but absolute chaos for that team in the very center. Tripentac Uverni was the highest finishing of the championship competitors today in 5th, but comes up 5 points short. Alexander Rowe 6th, Eli Bright 2 points short in 7th. Johnny Gardner in 8th, Noah Carr's 9th, and Jake Rogers completed the top 10. 11th place, enough for Chris Dodd to win the championship. Zach Flickinger finishes 12th. 13th for Mason Wood, and Cole Baker finished the last car in the lead lap in the 14th position. Jonathan Zorlin was the last car to finish, 2 laps down in the 15th position. Jacob Rose, Kev Shearer, Jay Jefferson, Matthew Rodriguez, Charles Jackson, Nathan Norman, and Matt Haas all end their year with a DNF. Kev Shearer, Jacob Rose, Charles Jackson, Matt Haas, hope that all of them are okay after the wild rides they took in today's event. But that's going to do it here for today's race and this season. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to today's race. Carson Gunn wins the Indianapolis 500, and Chris Dodd is your NNSCRA Gaming IndyCar Series champion. If you enjoyed today's race, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full fantasy results, and these are your overall official standings for the season. Don't know if this will come back for a second season or not, but this was certainly a fun season nonetheless, and hope you guys are looking forward to the Tax Slayer Truck Series debut season, as well as the 3rd season of the Pizza Hut X Series and the 5th season of the Hershey's Cup Series. That's all coming up because this is the end of the off-season, so we will see you guys next time as NNSCRA will kick off those 3 series as we continue on with NNSCRA racing on this channel. You've been watching a production of NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. We'll see you guys next time.